advantage.
Hey, I love it. All right, guys, we are live on Facebook. I have two very special guests today, Victor and Desiree from Orlando Images Online.
Hey
How
guys,
are you?
how you
Good,
doing?
good. How are you?
I'm doing so good. I'm excited to sit down with the two of you today and have a conversation about true real estate professional photography. It's a soapbox of mine, did you know?
Yeah.
So the three of us have been working together for quite some time now.
Yeah.
And I'll just go ahead and put it all out there. Huge kudos to both of you because you are top notch in every which way, or we love working with you. You are phenomenal.
Thank you so much. You are great to work with too.
No, and I'm
Trust
glad that
me.
you take your time to pick and select the right photographers for your listings. Thank you.
Yeah, well, and so that brings us right into our topic, which is Jeff and I have been listing agents for many years now, and a key differentiator for us is to align with strong partners like yourself. And I wanted to sit down with the two of you today to dig into a topic that is a bit of a soapbox and near and dear to my heart, which is listing agents will say, I do paid or professional photography, right? And all agents say, well, but I do professional photography. The question I have though is, what's the difference between a paid photographer and a professional photographer like the two of you?
Okay, so let's start with, once you get a professional, we come with the background of straight lines. We have to make sure our houses are constructed right? It's a straight and left to right. Sometimes when you hire let's say a photographer that's just either starting or is trying, sometimes they're not knowledgeable about the angles of how you're supposed to capture the property. Sometimes they go, oh, here's a counter, and they just take a picture of the counter. You're supposed to take a picture of a home. As a professional photographer, we are taught to show you the story of a home, how you enter, what connects rooms. Like if the kitchen goes towards the master, we have to make sure we take the picture the way it kind of tells you, oh, I can go in through the door, see the living room, and then go into my master. Not just the room. Sometimes we do like when you're a professional, you like to show some more of technical, like be more technical.
Yeah.
That makes a difference, first of all. Second of all, lighting. Some of them are not knowledgeable about lighting. For example, us right now, we have to have good lighting to have a good video. We have to have great setup to do it. Sometimes they show up with a camera thinking that is a professional camera, but that's where, even in our organization, between photography, we go, what's a professional and what's not a professional?
Yeah.
It's difficult because you buy a professional camera, it doesn't make you a professional. Sometimes it's like buying a pro racing car. It doesn't make me a professional racing.
That's such a great point and so we could even carry that over to the real estate profession. Is just because you have your real estate license doesn't mean that you truly specialize in the art form. And when I look at the two of you, what I know to be true is that the two of you take your profession very seriously, and it is a true art form for you. So I love, Victor, that you mentioned, I've never heard you use that analogy, but that is so true. And if I think back to our relationship and all the listings that you've shot for us, one of the things I love about the way you position the home is there is a story of the home. Every room has a story. And also, you don't just take a photo of a room and show that there's furniture. It irks me that you see a photo and it's like, well, are you selling furniture or are you marketing a home?
Correct. Yeah.
Because there's a story in the room. It has to be composed properly.
Correct. And nowadays it has become more of selling the lifestyle than just a room, a box full of rooms, So that way, you're supposed to tell, like you said, the story and just the lifestyle that you're about to buy, because you're going to be there for 5-7 years, or as an investment. You need to know what you're buying. But Yeah, other than that, it's just knowing your, like for example, realtors, you guys take time on training, on knowing your rules, of knowing what to say and what not to say. We take our time too of what to use, is standing up to trend, what pictures, what lighting, what makes it even better to separate from others. So we just keep up with that. And then, and of course, that's what separates us from, you know, either regulars or just, you know, photographers.
Also, as professional photographers, we try to treat each house different, but still with the same standards.
Right.
So like we try to see what's important in this house. Like what do we want to stand out? What will actually be the heart of this home? Is it the kitchen? Is it the living room? Is it the patio? What is it? So each house we approach it differently so that we can actually like deliver it to the realtor how it should be.
Well, that's a really good point too, Desiree, because the three of us have worked together, you know, to say that we provide phenomenal service and the best photos possible for marketing. That's the same whether it's a $75,000 listing, which we've worked together on, or a multi-million-dollar listing. The standard is there so that you are able to tell a story, because every home has a story.
Exactly.
And so what Jeff and I have felt is so important, and what's been a key differentiator for us is that when we are marketing the sale of a home, we used to say your first showing's online, and then it's our job as realtors to bring the eyeballs, the buyers from online to the property. Now, 2019, with the accessibility of, you know, all information the way we have it on our phones, we're seeing that the first, second, and possibly third showing is online, right? And so now it's important to make sure you have spot on photography, the videography, everything has to be on point.
Yeah.
Something that I wish that I could like bring forward to a lot of realtors or real estate agents is that, I mean, yes, your listing sometimes may not be what you think it is, but having the photography out there will actually bring the customers in, because I have known of photographers that feel like, well, I don't need to show the whole house because I want them to come in. Yeah. But the truth is we are in a technological era. So, I mean, I feel like the most that we can show, the best that we can show it will bring the most customers. Yeah. So, I mean, having good photography and having photography that actually kind of speaks to what the home is will bring you more clients. I have had realtors that tell me I sold the house because of the pictures.
Oh, of course. Well, because as I was saying, the first showing is online. Yeah. We have to capture the attention with the most phenomenal photos. And that's really why in the beginning I was talking about it's a bit of a pain point as a marketer in the field of real estate when you hear other realtors who I know do not have phenomenal marketing materials leading with photos, and they say, well, I hire a professional photographer. And what I love about this conversation that we're having is that I would really like to continue to educate our customers that whoever they decide to hire as a realtor, please ask the realtor for their whole portfolio of listings. So you as a photographer, you have a portfolio, right? We all know that. Yes. Guess what? Jeff and I as realtors, we have a portfolio. I think it is exactly the same. So when we go in and we talk to a potential seller, I'm going to show my portfolio, which highlights consistency and standards, as Desiree was mentioning, that we have as a result of our great partnership.
Well, then let me close it with saying, and I'm very strong on it, presentation is key.
Yeah.
Either when you go and present yourself to the sellers, you go and do a presentation.
Sure.
A great presentation, and you can pull up a great presentation with bad photos.
Yeah.
You know, like the photography. I think the world, and I guess because I'm a photographer, I'm gonna say it. The world without photography could be, boring. Why? We cannot show any product. We cannot track any buyer. We can't show what we do with high quality. So, I mean, just trying to, how can I say this? If, for example, like I was doing a sales presentation once and I brought a burger and I took a picture with my phone, and then I brought my camera and I took a picture with my camera and showed the difference. then I told my client, which burger will you eat?
Right.
But it's the same burger. It was just the presentation of the picture.
Sure.
And at that point, you decide that it's the same burger, but you will pick the left one because it looks better.
Sure.
So presentation is key. And then just going in, that will separate other realtors from others coming in with, like you guys, a great portfolio, heavy image. Nowadays, online is key too. So
it is key. What's that, Desiree?
Everything's online nowadays. Like
sure. Well, and actually, it's funny that you say that. I was just looking at a stat from National Association of Realtors, and their 2018 number said that 87% of home buyers who searched for a home on the internet agreed to have found photos to be among the most useful feature that was utilized in marketing that property. Of course,
definitely.
Numbers not even higher.
Personal experience, a friend of mine found the perfect home, but after she had to go see it because online, she actually passed it 3 times because she didn't feel like the pictures were good enough, like it didn't show. It didn't call to her. So once she was like, you know what, let me just go see it, she saw that the picture just didn't match the lifestyle of the house.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, like you were trying to put in point earlier about paid photographer or professional photographer, a lot of people are going out there and paying photographers that are saying to be professional, but are actually giving you a quality job that you can do yourself.
Yeah.
So if it's something that you can do yourself, I advise you just not to pay for it, because professional photography will actually talk for itself. Like it will actually bring that house to life. It'll sell your home. Like professional photography mixed with the realtor's marketing is what makes it.
So another NAR statistic I found interesting from 2018 was that those listings that had phenomenal professional photography sold on average of 33% faster.
Definitely.
Yeah. And a little bit higher too.
What's that?
And a little
With
bit
better
higher in price.
Exactly. I'll take that any day.
Offers here and there, it starts with the fighting because you want that home. It's something that an example, I was doing a photo shoot of a home and another homeowner approached me and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm doing the photos." "Are you the realtor?" I said, "No, I'm not." "Well, my realtor took its own photos." And I said, "Oh, well, how were they?" "Well, let me see yours."
Yeah.
I pull out my Instagram and oh, well, not like that. And then I said, "Well, it makes a difference." And he said, "Well, yeah, because I sold it for the lowest price."
Yeah.
It can a photographer can either break you or make you too. So you better know which one you choose. It can blemish your image, how it can enhance your image. You pick.
100%. And I believe with all of my being that, and I am glad you sat down with me today, because the goal is to help to continue to educate the customers. Because if the customers know better that the photography is so important from the day one, then the customer will demand higher expectations of the realtor. Because what's happening is there are a lot of realtors who will take photos with an iPhone, which, God bless them, an iPhone can take some great photos, but that has no place in the world of marketing real estate. No iPhones for listing photography. No.
Not if you're trying to get the best out of your property. If you're trying to get the best out of your property, the best client with the best price, definitely invest in actual professional photography.
Yeah.
Photography is definitely key.
Well, you're representing the homeowner, and then once you take that listing, you represent the listing. At that point, it's your responsibility to show it well and to look good. And then that falls on your name, and that's how you create reputation. Hey, Renee has great photos.
Well, and that's what we
make a decision.
That's what we bring to our future appointments for our portfolio, right? Yeah. Is when we go to a listing appointment, we will literally show our portfolio of work and say, here we are from $75,000 listings to multi-million-dollar listings. It's on point. And can we just talk a little bit about, I think there's a misconception in the real estate industry from realtors that if you have more entry-level price points for listings, like Desiree and I recently did a photo shoot for an entry-level Windermere area condo, phenomenal condo, but there's a misconception that that property wouldn't warrant and isn't worth the same standards of quality. And that's such nonsense, because every listing we have should be treated the same.
Exactly, exactly. Standards should be present no matter the price point of the property.
Product is a product.
That's right. And then I think there's also a misconception, and we know because we've been working with y'all for so long, is that there are packages that are appropriate for all different price points of homes. So I don't know if realtors think maybe that there's real estate photography that's too expensive. There's not. You can cater the package to the property.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, 1,000 square foot condo doesn't need the same type of photography package that a 5,000 square foot home does, but the quality could be consistent.
Yeah. So then, you know, even though I don't think photography is expensive nowadays, how it was, because I remember 6 years ago, it used to be the lowest 200, 250.
Sure.
Now you can start seeing it from the hundreds, 120s and 150s to, you know, smaller properties, and you don't have to worry about it.
Sure.
I know sometimes nowadays 150 is 150, but 150 is your image. 150 is that one property you're showing.
Yeah.
Actually paying 150 when many companies pay millions of dollars to promote something with photography, videography.
Right.
Only 150 that you can actually, you know, promote out there and get it done.
Well, we have a saying around the Funk collection. It's not about what it costs, it's what's the ROI. And the ROI is providing phenomenal service for our sellers. So the way we look at it, again, we truly, our philosophy is that we are marketers in the field of real estate. So it's my job to market the sale of the property, not just to put it on the MLS so that it can just sit there and wait for the buyer. No, purposeful marketing starts with Victor and Desiree. Y'all are our first call, right? That's where the whole thing starts.
Yeah. No, and although the picture does the job, I do want to bring a little tip and trick is don't be afraid to tell the homeowner to clean.
Ah, good point, Victor.
Photographers care about that. Like, we care about the home looking pristine. Like, as a realtor, we've noticed that there are some that feel bad to make them move certain things. But when I'm in the house and I have the owner in the house, I let them know, hey, if you want to sell it faster, you want people to not get biased by anything in the picture. So you may be attached to it. However, the person on the other side of the screen isn't.
Right.
So you should cater to who you want to see it. So I want people to look at my listing and actually buy it. So try to clear out as much as possible, make it look good, make it seem like they can envision themselves in the home and not just looking at your items.
Yeah.
Because if you have items that are everywhere, people start to just pay attention to that and they stop looking at your home.
So that's such a great point that you bring up, Desiree, and that has a lot to do with the process that realtors have in anticipation of your arrival, right? Is that we work again, purposely to work together with our sellers. Sometimes that might mean that we bring in a stager. Sometimes that's physical furniture that comes in from a staging perspective. Sometimes we repurpose current items in the home to stage, but we repurpose it for photos because, I bet I'm going to bring up a soapbox topic for you guys, I bet, but the home presentation the day of photos is not the reality of how we live 99% of the time. And so what we talk to the sellers is just this one day, we're going to need to accomplish X, Y, and Z so that we can prep and be prepared for Victor and Desiree when they come. And then Victor and Desiree are going to knock it out of the park because they're amazing. But we need to make sure that we repurpose furniture into different rooms, or even just putting stuff away. You're getting ready to move anyway. Yeah. That's what I say. You're moving anyway.
That's what I like it when I was doing that listing. You said that. And I said, well, it's true.
It's true.
Every listing that I've been in is super clean, and that's you know, I love it. I wanted to communicate that through here so maybe others can learn that you're taking over that list and you're taking over that property, you're representing it. So at
Yep.
that point, you take over and you say, homeowner, I love you. Thank you so much for giving me the listing, but we need to clean this up a little bit.
I always say, if your realtor gives you homework, that means they care.
Yes. Hey, I love that, Desiree. I've never heard that. That's awesome.
I just used it this morning as well. I use it all the time. I'm like, if